There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Peter F. Drucker. My friends, as we look at the markets today, we see stocks and bonds up, gold down just a little bit, Bitcoin up a little bit for Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about where we are on the S&P 500 first. We can see where the S&P 500 blew through the weekly trend line back in on Friday, last Friday morning, the 17th, and it went down Friday, it went down Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It was up a little bit. Hard to tell from the Heikin Ashi candlesticks, but we know it was up 0.53% at the end of the day. Remember, Heikin Ashi candlesticks are different than your typical high, open, low, close. We love them because they help us do the thing they were designed to do, is see average pace. And what we see is lots of indecision in the down moves. We can see we had up volume in the morning, and then in the afternoon we also had still pretty decently sustained volume. This could mean that we are seeing folks sell out at the bottom. That would be the insiders, hoping that things are going to go up. There could be other anomalous reasons for this, but we can see things not penetrating right away this 200 EMA. So there may be a change coming, particularly, because think about volume, okay? When you see huge volume compared to what you see here in these big down candles, you can see where the volume was. You can see lots of now, when you start looking at volume slowing down and really spiking up and down, but as far as the candle itself goes, these are small, but look at all the volume here. It's telling you something is going on. People are selling and people are buying, but price is not moving anywhere. It could mean the insiders are dumping, waiting for things to, of course, turn around and move up. That is indeed possible. So we will keep an eye on that, meaning that we will be watching over the course of the day on Friday and going into next week. If we go from red to green here, that might signal a time for us to jump in and ride this up. That may be there for us. Now, we also keep in mind that we see on this 2-day candle, it is penetrating through the 2-day. We've been talking about this for the last 4 days now. It is penetrating through the 200 EMA on the bigger chart, and volume, of course, is increasing. We're reaching a lower low, and we have to, now again, you'll get conflicting things on various charts. Where do we put the most of our emphasis? We put the most of it, of course, on the biggest chart. But we realize too that everything starts on the smallest chart. So we can see we just went from green to red on this chart. Now we look at the weekly. Where is the weekly? We see volume decreasing pretty significantly. We're still green on the STC, but we have broken this trend line. So that is important to see. Typically what you have happen when a trend line is broken, when we go from red to green on the volume and on the candlesticks, at some point we'll see the STC change over like we saw happen back here. Later in the game, then we saw the initial moves occur. So again, as we look at this candle, it's a red down candle. It has no upward movement on it. It has a wick at the bottom. Volume, again, we're not finished with the week, and this is a shorter week. Remember, we were closed for President's Day in the States on Monday. So again, wouldn't expect necessarily the volume to be super high. So we'll keep an eye on things. If we do see things spike on the half-day chart and really start to rebound and go up, we will, of course, check out what's happening on the 2-day and the weekly at the same time, remembering we have some inherent weakness already creeping in on that 2-day, and the weekly has rolled over. So you see how important it is for you to be in the markets every day, to practice trade these things, to learn the personalities of your charts, of your particular stocks and ETFs. Very important. Now let's move on to the NASDAQ 100, the tech stocks. They were up for the day 0.87%. Same kind of thing. We can see where they've come down and where it's flattened. And look at all that volume, both in the morning and in the afternoon, with very, very little price change. And of course, that's been going on as far as the sideways slide goes now for 2 days. Could just be getting ready to drop over again, but we are above the 200 EMA. So we will keep an eye on this. Little different from the S&P 500, and we will watch. Now look at what's going on with the 2-day. Even though we've had 4 days of down movement, it's not gone from green to red yet. But we do see that volume is above average. So again, it's bounced off the 200 EMA and heading down. What about the weekly? Same thing here on the weekly. Broke the weekly trend line. Not a huge down candle or anything. Not a lot of volume. So we'll wait, watch, and see. Let's move on to bonds. Bonds up for the day, almost 1%, 0.98%. 2 days of accelerating upward movement. Volume, not that great though. So we'll see where that's going. It has moved up to where it popped up a little earlier, spiked above that during the day. But again, we'll see where it takes us. It closed, of course, below that prior spike on the green candle back on the 17th in the afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on things, on bonds. We look, and again, we're below the 200 EMA, so we're not looking for a long trade there. We look at the 2-day chart, below the 200 EMA there also. We can see that move down slowing. We have a green volume candle there. So again, we'll pay attention to what's happening. And of course, on the weekly, going to the 3rd week of down movement, reaching a lower low. Again, shorter week, not a lot of volume. So we'll watch and see when bonds are going to perhaps make a turnaround or turn around and accelerate down. But we've got to, on this half-day chart, have it reset into the green for us, which it has not done yet. So it's going to take some more up movement for that to occur. Let's move on to gold. Gold down just a little bit, 0.05%. Now, it hasn't penetrated this 200 EMA. Not a lot of volume at the end of the day. Good bit of volume in the morning, but again, not enough in the afternoon to penetrate down. So we'll watch. Maybe gold's going to bounce off this 200 EMA and head up. Wouldn't that be nice? I'd love to go long gold again. We look at where we are on the 2-day. Of course, it's negative on the STC. Lots of down movement above the 200 EMA, volume below average. We look at the weekly, and of course, we can see the weakening in the down moves with the volume as the candles actually, have gotten bigger. I guess the biggest was this one back on the 13th and 14th, Monday and Tuesday Monday, let's see, that'd be the 13th and 14th. So anyway, we will continue to, that would be the 13th and, what am I getting wrong there? And I am on the I'm on the weekly. I was like, how is this Monday? Sorry. We have that down movement on the 2-day, and on the weekly, that's where we're weakening in our volume. Sorry, I was sitting there and it wasn't computing. I was like, how are we having 2-day volume on Monday? But what we see is as that down movement proceeds, the volume's weakening. So we'll, again, hope springs eternal for gold to take off again. I'm ready, willing, and able to practice trade it when it goes back up. What about Bitcoin? And by the way, Patreon members, we did release last night to you our charting crypto and your weekly vertical crossovers. We had 20 of them this week 2 up, I believe, and 18 down. When we look at where we are on Bitcoin today, it was up 0.90%. It had moved below the trend line on the weekly chart and now just sort of sliding sideways. Did go red in the afternoon, again with some dojis there. We look at what's up on the 2-day chart. You can see where that up movement really petered off. Volume, nothing to speak of. And on the weekly, again, pretty weak volume, not reaching that higher high from last week. That is where we are, folks. God bless you. We always love to hear from you. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. CW@chartingwealth.com. Take care. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth, World Headquarters.